I see a very meticulous, smooth sculpture of two human bodies sprawled across what appears to be a jagged rock. The two people seem to be male and female, even though their front halves are not seen, because the form being held has softer edges and long hair cascading down her shoulders. There is a long piece of fabric hanging loosely between the two figures, gracefully nestled between the woman's legs and gathered at her feet. Their faces are looking towards each other, but their hair is swept to the side so you cannot see their features. The two seem to be very close and struggling against an unseen force due to their clinging onto each other and the strained positions of their bodies. The man looks as if he's trying to protect the woman, with his arms slung across her shoulders, shielding her with his back. This piece was created in 1926, almost 9 decades ago. The artist Malvina Hoffman was born in the 19th century, 1887, so she came from a generation very far from my own. She was an American, though, so I can apply my knowledge of American history to her life. The 30s were a very restricted time for women, as women were not even able to vote until 1920. Due to the desperate, clinging feeling of this piece, I feel like Malvina was yearning for something she didn't have. Perhaps she loved someone but couldn't be with him, and was chained to a woman's role in society instead of what she really wanted to be. The woman in this sculpture could very well be a representation of her. The fact that this piece wasn't even given a proper name makes it seem like this piece has an air of secrecy or embarrassment about it. To Malvina, this could have been a representation of her internal longing and search for intimacy, but putting a name to her yearning would bring her desires to life, and perhaps she was not ready to face them. The form's nakedness is raw and naturalistic, and since they are laying on a rock, it is possible the force crashing over them is a real, physical force of nature, such as water or wind. The force is further exemplified in the way the fabric seems to have been ripped from the woman, hanging precariously to the woman's figure like the remains of a dress. She has been stripped away, naked to nature and clinging for safety. I feel that the strong force of nature is a metaphor for societal force and pressure. Her guises and remnants of her true self threaten to the point of breaking. This qualifies as a good work of art because not only is it masterfully crafted, it invokes strong emotion. The smoothness and ease of the marble establishes a kind of rhythm to the piece, while the whiteness is clean and pure in contrast to the bleeding struggle of the figures. The piece is stable and also able to stand on its own, but skewed to the left, showing movement from an imaginary force acting upon the people. This piece is an enigma, contradictory, with the softness and ease of the marble combined with the display of conflict and pain. Interpreting this artwork expanded my mind on the analysis and meaning of sculptures. Contemporary art is usually fed to my generation as digital pieces or photocopied prints. Physical art is something not readily available, and physical art that is meaningful and purposeful is even rarer. True sculptures, tediously labored into marble masterpieces that capture the human form, enrapture the senses, and allow for imagination to become interpretation. It is a true delight for me an experience to view and digest this piece. Next to the painting, this piece was lightly summarized by the museum. It stated that the straining, athletic forms of the rare marble composition exemplifies the importance of the human figure in motion. Though the purpose was not explicitly given, bits of her life were outlined. Hoffman chose the body as her focus. She studied sculpture for a year in Paris with Auguste Rodin, who impressed upon her the necessity to master all technical processes of her art. I felt a sense of disappointment at the lack of information on Malvina's work or her life. After researching and learning about her life, I was able to form a more realistic, detailed picture. Malvina was inspired to sculpt when her father became very sick. In his honor, she tried to paint him, but found it was not sufficient to her liking. She felt her father deserved a three-dimensional form, and sculpted his head. After his death, she traveled to Europe, and, after receiving recognition from other famous French artists, she began to gain a reputation of her own. One of her mentors and fellow artists, Ivan Mestrovic, advised her to master her techniques thoroughly, because of the preconceived idea that a woman could not get serious about her art. She took this challenge and went on to create several infamous features that focused exclusively on the body, form, physicality, and different kinds of cultures. She became known for her ability to make her sculptures contain lifelike movement, as if they were ready at any moment to spring forth into reality. This information confirmed my initial reaction that Malvina was using her art to rebel against societal expectations. But I was wrong that her work focused strictly on her emotions. Rather, she uses her talent to create emotion in others through movement, culture, and design. The information about her father and her strides to achieve her aspirations despite conventional morality and societal challenges lets me fall deeper in love with this piece.